we will play those clips again. People are asking how do they enter. Well, hopefully you're tuned in because there's 6 mystery voices. You need to name all the 6. We'll play it 2 more times before we finish this evening, and we might even put it on YouTube as well. That's a great day out for you and a girlfriend, a wife, or whatever. Right, just before we carry on, I just wanted to confirm your charity bet for Saturday.
It's Tackler de Sol.
Harry Topper. We would go each way, but we can't. I'm going to go for the jugular and we're going to go for win. He's going to tank round, chase Q Card up the home straight, pop the last. Q Card will be tiring. Harry Topper's going to come home and I'll be cheering.
No, what will happen is Q Card will lead from start to finish and see them all off. But anyway, it'll be a fascinating race on Saturday. And again, thank you very much to Betfair. Right, we're going to look back on Saturday now and at Cheltenham, because obviously some pointers for future events, and King's Palace was ultra impressive.
Yeah, he was. He was ultra impressive about this time last year when he was jumping a hurdle over the same distance. My God, for a horse that not very often you see a horse who's got speed like that can also stay. He was very impressive. He was in receipt of £5 from the second horse there. What I would say is on that soft ground he wouldn't have got much further. I thought he was coming to the end of his tether halfway up the run, and I hear him being quoted for the RSA. That would be a mistake for me. I think this horse has got too much speed. That race is for street fighters.
It's not a nice race to put a horse with that.
No.
I would personally be looking after it. I like the horse a lot.
I think he's got a lot of speed.
And I think David Pipe has had horses that have gone off the boil. When you think back to Grand Cru, horses like that I wouldn't want to see the same happen to King. I think it's a fantastic horse.
I mean, if you look who's won RSAs in the past, I mean, Bob Worth's come straight to mind. When you're talking like Real Dale Stairs, that really is a scrap, that race.
And there was problems with the horse. I think there was talk there was problems with the horse at Cheltenham last year, and it underperformed on the big day. Obviously, the event at the weekend was the Paddy Power Gold Cup. Some would argue, A, the pace wasn't strong enough, B, because all the main protagonists finished close together, that it's not much of a race. But I think we can take some good pointers out of that.
Cream rose to the top when you look at the betting market and who people thought would finish where. Pretty much the main protagonists were in the first 5, which is what you should be seeing in that kind of race, really, if you believe in the markets and the form and everything like that. I thought John Spirit was unlucky. I would have liked to have seen that win, not just because Peter would have won some money for the Injured Jockeys Fund, but
it's tanking away too from home, tanking.
Yeah. And I think there's a good race in that horse now. I think Festival Bound, I'd like to think now.
Or will the form tail off like last year? John Spirit's best 2 runs last year with the first 2 runs.
Maybe, who knows? But what a ride on the winner. I think, Sam Twiston-Davies...
Oh, certain Sam Twiston-Davies, who got a stick from a lot of people.
Did everyone forget this ride that he gave the horse time to the minute on the Saturday? I wasn't on his particular amount, but I was really impressed by it. I don't think you could fail to not be, Matt.
No, I mean, he won ahead. I mean, it could have very much, if he didn't get there by the head, what would people have been saying then? It can so easy the other way. I mean, I think the racing, it surprised me. Again, it's funny in racing that when I watch a race the first time, I can come away and have thoughts about it. But it's not until I sit down and scrutinise the form, watch the race back a few times and watch each runner run, that I've actually come to the conclusion this is a very strong Paddy Power Gold Cup. I believe that the winners run to a mark of 159. I believe John Spirit, I agree with Sam, he's to be out of handicap companies. I think he's performed to marks of 172. You're talking will be able to hold his own, in Grade 1 company. Present View, Jamie Snowden, he's very much the horse that I handicapped the race round going into this. I thought he had a stone in hand, and the absolute eye catcher for me was Bywise, who during this slow pace of the race found himself outpaced. Didn't he jump a lot better through the race? Came down to the last. All happened a little bit too soon for him and stayed on strongly.
And the ground had changed as well.
I can't have this Bywise thing. I think we're at a point now where viewers at home, you can put a line through the horse. I can't have it. I think we're getting too excited.
But the horses at the front of the market, I think the ground went against Present View, and I think with relation to Bywise, it ran better than we thought. And Oscar Whiskey ran
Bywise on the form book was in receipt of £2 from Present View for a length of neck beating, so that comes out the better horse than Present View. So off a mark of 146, he has to be well handicapped.
Possibly. I still think Present View, Brendan Powell Jr. did a great job. The horse popped every fence going round. I actually think maybe over a slightly longer distance we might see the horse to better effect. It'd be interesting to see what happens next and where James Snowden goes.
And before we take those mystery voices again, I just wanted to talk about Golden Doyen, who stayed on, beat Hargam, who looked like he was going to get up. Gary T decided to go far side. Golden Doyen stayed on well.
Yeah, he did. We discussed this earlier on. He looks very much a horse to me that stays well and probably is going to want a fence in time. I'd be slightly concerned under quicker condition over that trip whether he might just get outspeeded, but certainly it'd be very interesting over further.
I actually like the third horse in that race, the Pipe horse, that I thought came in with very little chances, was unbacked at 7-1, and I really like that horse. That'll be an interesting race to take out of it, to see if any of them do go on to the bigger and better things, and if any of them end up in the Triumph Hurdle.
So before we talk about Sunday, we get more. What was your eye catcher for Friday?
Friday.
Saturday?
Parlour Games was a Friday.
Yeah.
And Saturday, my eye catcher would have been Bywise.
Okay.
I'll say Cup Final, because that horse will turn up in a festival race and get ridiculously punted off the boards. My Saturday one will be Sam Winner. It's not a very original one, but you watch the ride back, the flat spot that horse hits.
He coincidentally goes for a namesake.
Well, you know, just so happens. Sam riding, and another good ride by Sam Twist Davis. You know, I know he perhaps put in some rides that people didn't like on the other days.
You're dying to talk about this.
Well,
I am.
He is, isn't he? You could tell.
I think it's just pocket talking, though. I think people have to understand he's going to be on short price things because they're Paul Nicholls horses and they're good horses. Can't win every race at a short price. And a couple of his rides that people give him stick for, if they watch the form back, they're not easy rides. You know, they're not game
we're going to
horses.
talk about Sunday in a moment. We've got about 5-6 minutes to talk about the Sunday. And one of the horses that impressed me was Uxasandri. And I think the jumping was the one thing that amazed me, because I remember, I think it was Plumpton or something like that, made an absolute terrible mistake. The jumping, been a little bit suspect, but it was, you know, getting around Cheltenham and jumping like it did was very impressive.
Nice to see Kingy with a good horse as well. Can't fault Barry Geraghty for the ride. I thought the horse jumped exceptionally well and is certainly one to keep on the right side of for the rest of the season. The bare form of it's interesting. I like Dodging Bullets and actually backed it in this race. Tends to go well fresh, so you do think if it's come third and that's it, that could be it this side of Christmas now. So I don't know, the form will have to stack up, but I think Alan King said he may even take this one to Ireland for Christmas, so it'll be interesting to see where it goes next. He's going to have high aims.
And of course it franked Tacton de Sol's form, who he beat obviously at the festival as well. So
okay, another one in that on Sunday was Dunraven Storm.
Rubbish at poker.
But it would have won anyway. It would have won anyway, surely. I mean,
It's a
poor
four-runner
old
race.
Sam, right? He gets absolutely busted on Twitter. Excuse me. People sort of keep having a go at him. This horse is a tricky ride. Couldn't get up. And Johnson just nicked it from the front, and you know it doesn't matter how Tristan Davis rode that horse, he would not have won.
I don't think it's that. It might not be that game, but I don't think it's that good a horse either. And in a four-runner affairs, they're always trappy, horrible events. Usually, you can quite often get a funny result in it. And I would accept the fact that perhaps Sam
What
is a
about
little
when he
bit.
comes on Twitter and he says, "Oh look, it was my fault."
Fair play to him. You know, he obviously thinks. Watching it back, I don't think there's a lot more that he could have done. He tried to play his hand late. It didn't work. I would hate to see it front running because I don't think it would front run. I don't, in a four-runner field, it needs a bit of cover. Perhaps in a bigger field, it could be ridden differently. But you know, fair play for him.
But on
holding his
Saturday,
hands up.
if you have a great ride on Quai de Burley, the next
It's
day
so quickly forgotten. But
Absolutely.
I suppose maybe it's because of the connection. He's riding for one of the best trainers out there. He's going to be high profile now. Mistakes get highlighted a lot more. But he's only young. He is learning. But I don't think even an experienced horseman would have got this horse in front. You maybe disagree. I don't know.
absolutely disagree. Don't get me wrong, Sam Tristan Davis, he's a very good jockey and someone that will be champion jockey, but this was unreal to watch. I do know the horse. I watched him in a Swinton. In fact, I backed him in a Swinton to watch him do that, but I watched him run last time. But let's remember that he was 4 lengths down at the last off a leader on soft ground of Dunraven Storm that stays very well. He ran past Little John, so he was resolute to make up 3 1/4 lengths, and he was staying on up the hill. If Sam would have had it closer, there's no doubt for me he would have won. Ruby Walsh would have won on it without an absolute doubt. And Sam's reaction I've seen as they went past the post said it all to me through the cameras, that he knew that he got this one wrong.
He's on a monkey of a horse, that's what it was. We talked about the ride for Tristan Davis on Roberto Verdat. What about Valatur and Barry Geraghty, who, looking at the home run, I mean, Richard Johnson has 7 winners there. Every one of them, stand side, best ground, up the rail, wins on the races. And for some reason, some of these jockeys who are top-notch jockeys decide to go on the far side. Valatur was carrying 11 stone 12 and Geraghty was on the far side.
I was surprised. Barry likes to try and find out the better ground, and he's usually a very good judge of it.
Who's trying to say it was the better ground?
Yeah, you know, it's judgment call, and you know the horse did incredibly well with the weight. That's a heck of a weight carrying performance. Both the front two, really. When you think that the third was 10 stone, and it was a Willie Mullins horse that was pretty much prepped for the day by the looks of things.
Well, more interesting. I must get this point through because I think this form is absolutely red hot. If we go to the 5th horse in the race, Blue Heron, bearing in mind he was beaten 5 1/4 lengths, only getting a pound from the Nicky Henderson horse. This horse beat Parlour Games, who won the Grade 2 at Kempton. Comes up better than him, a Grade 2 winner. These are way ahead. I think the Henderson horse has run to a mark of 166. I think he'd be very competitive in a champion hurdle, but would have to find half a stone to win one.
Well, now Nicky Henderson has not got my tent or yours. I did say, actually, quote beforehand, that if there's one champion hurdle horse that he's got, this is it.
And I agree. I think the performance merits that potential. The one to take out the race, I'm going to laugh about it, is don't back Regal Encore anymore. We need to give up on that project. Everyone backs this horse as if, I mean, it was 16 to 1 2 days before the race. It went off 17 to 2, 8 to 1. You leave it alone. The gamble has been missed on that one. It's not going to win. It's not as game as we all thought, I think. And I'm fed up of backing it.
We are, believe it or not, running out of time. So I just want your eye catcher for Sunday.
Eye catcher for Sunday. I'll tell you, I'm not an eye catcher. One horse to avoid going forward that I thought the form won't work out, and that's Immersion Talent of Paul Nicholls. That form, I know he finished second, but for a Grade 2, I don't think it'll work out.
I think one that will follow up quite quickly will probably be the winner of the opener. It was back 8 to 1 into 7 to 2, and that was Unique to Cot of David Pipes, off the track for what felt like 2 years and came back to win.